Welcome to this week's Sight for Wight Talking News for Friday the 9th of April 2021.
No plans have been revealed for the return of white-linked sparsecat. From Isle of Wight Radio, read by Chris. It is still not known when white-linked sparsecat will return. As previously reported by Isle of Wight Radio, the route was suspended over Christmas due to low passenger numbers. Despite coronavirus restrictions easing on April the 12th, the ferry firm says there are no plans for the route to start up again. CEO Keith Greenfield said last month, in March, that the service would return at the end of March, as previously reported. A spokesperson for the ferry firm said, Whitelink continues to review the demand for foot passenger travel between the Isle of Wight and Portsmouth. However, very few people are crossing the Solent at present. There is plenty of capacity on Whitelink's car ferries from Portsmouth to Fishbourne to carry everyone who wishes to travel at this time, whether in a vehicle or as a foot passenger. Whitelink tickets and passes are also being accepted on hover travel services. Whitelink looks forward to reopening its sparsecat services as soon as demand returns, but at this time does not have a firm date to announce.
This is Brian reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press. Who's on the Isle of Wight County Hall Rich List? High salaries of Isle of Wight Council officers earning more than £100,000 per year have come under the spotlight in a list put together by the Taxpayers Alliance. Some are being paid more in yearly pension contributions than many people get in their annual salary. The island's highest paid officers appeared on the Town Hall Rich List 2021 for 2019-20. Isle of Wight Council Chief Executive John Metcalfe earned £132,358 plus £250 classed as other, equaling £132,608. Add in his pension £31,104 and he cost taxpayers £163,712. Director of Adult Social Services Carol Tozer earned £119,215 plus pension £28,015, equaling £147,230. Director of Regeneration, Chris Ashman, had a salary of £108,931, plus pension of £25,599, taking the total to £134,530. Director of Corporate Services, Claire Shand, was paid £99,374, plus an unspecified other of £6,303, equaling £105,677. Her annual pension totalled £23,353, equaling a cost to taxpayers of £129,030. Director of Neighbourhoods, Colin Rowland, earned £102,498, plus a pension of £24,087, totalling £126,585. Assistant Chief Executive and Chief Strategy Officer Wendy Pereira earned £97,552, plus a pension of £22,925, taking the total to £120,477. With families now facing higher council tax bills, new polling showed the overwhelming majority of people opposed increases by a 4-to-1 margin, and 59% of people said council should freeze or cut top salaries to help keep bills down. The Taxpayers Alliance provided a council-by-council breakdown, calling on all local authorities to stop council tax rises and cut down on wasteful spending. The average number of employees who received over £100,000 in total remuneration per local authority was 7. The Isle of Wight has 6. However, other costs include payments to consultants and partnerships with other councils where expertise is shared. In the South East, for the third year running, the local authority with the most employees who received remuneration in excess of £100,000 in 2019-2020 was Kent with 29. The biggest remuneration package in this region was received by West Sussex's Chief Executive, who got £427,653. John O'Connell, Chief Executive of the Taxpayers Alliance, said, "Taxpayers facing huge and hated council tax rises want to know they are getting value for money from their local authority leadership." At the onset of the coronavirus crisis, thousands of town hall officials were taking home huge sums. While councils were plunged into tackling the pandemic, many staff will have more than earned their keep, but households have nevertheless struggled with enormous and unpopular council tax rises. These figures shine a light on the town hall bosses who've got it right and will enable residents to hold those who aren't delivering value for money to account.
Isle of Wight swimming pool reopening dates from Isle of Wight Radio. Iona. Swimming pools on the Isle of Wight are opening on Monday, the 12th of April, in line with government guidelines. It's understood council-run leisure centres in Newport, the Medina, and Sandown, the Heights, and Ryde, West Ridges, are reopening next week, Monday, in line with the gradual lifting of lockdown across the country. The West Wight Sports and Community Centre will also reopen on Monday for the first time in months. The charity's been supporting the local community throughout the pandemic by delivering hot meals and collecting prescriptions, as well as providing over-the-phone support. As Isle of Wight Radio exclusively reported, the site in Freshwater is now acting as a vaccination hub, playing a key role in the vaccine rollout programme on the island. Owner Claire Griffin told Isle of Wight Radio, "We are over the moon to be opening." The swimming pool, gym, courts and children's swimming lessons also start back on Tuesday, with schools coming back in next week as well. We're doing everything we are allowed to do, and you can either phone us to book or do it online. You can't just turn up. Everything is on our website, and booking online is really simple. Get a PIN and registered, and when you are set up, it is easy. We cannot wait to reopen on Monday and welcome everyone back. Ryde's Waterside Pool also plans to open on Monday. A spokesperson said, "We are thrilled to reopen again on Monday the 12th of April, and we cannot wait to see all our wonderful members and customers. We feel so incredibly fortunate to open again thanks to the support during all temporary closures over the last year from Ryde Town Council and the Isle of Wight Council."
This is Michael reading an article from Island Echo. Council libraries to reopen their doors as restrictions ease. Island residents who use council-run libraries will once again be able to access services, as the Isle of Wight Council announces their reopening. In recent weeks, library customers have been able to visit their local council-run library to return books, collect books they have reserved, and pick up book selections they have requested through the Order and Collect service. Now the council is able to reopen the library doors after making changes to ensure that library visiting is as COVID safe as possible, both for staff and customers. Cowes, Freshwater, Lord Louis, Ryde, Sandown and Ventnor libraries will open their doors to customers for book borrowing from the 12th of April with revised opening hours. Public computers will need to be booked in advance, and Wi-Fi will be available for library users to browse the internet on their own devices in libraries. The layout of the libraries may be noticeably different to allow safer access to books and computers and make sure that social distancing is still possible. There will be a limit to the number of customers allowed in each library at any time, and this will differ for each library according to the size and layout of the building. Rob Jones, Library Service Manager, said, "We are looking forward to welcoming everyone back to our libraries. It may feel a little different to before, but we are working hard to make sure the libraries are as safe and comfortable as possible." Books borrowed before this latest lockdown have all had their due-back date extended until the 1st of May, so nobody needs to rush back now if they have books that are due to return. Anyone entering the library will be asked to provide NHS test and trace contact information, and face coverings will be required. Hand sanitizer will be provided from wall-mounted dispensers. Customer time in the library will be limited to 15 minutes for grab-and-go book borrowing and 30-minute pre-booked computer or Wi-Fi use, to ensure that everyone gets a chance to use the library throughout the day.
This is Petrina reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press. Shanklin man arrested after damaging vehicles and threatening people. A Shanklin man in his 30s was arrested on Tuesday night following a spree which saw him damage a number of vehicles. The man, who was also making threats to people, was arrested shortly after 7:33 p.m. while walking along Hope Hill. A spokesperson for the Hampshire Constabulary said, "Officers attending Hope Hill around 7:33 last night following a report of a number of vehicles being damaged and a man threatening people. A 32-year-old man from Shanklin has been arrested on suspicion of using threatening, abusive or insulting words or behaviour to cause harassment, alarm or distress and criminal damage. He remains in custody at this time."
Hello, this is Steve reading a story from the Island Echo, headlined, "Isle of Wight Sea Eagle makes cross-channel journey to France." A white-tailed eagle, one of 7 released on the Isle of Wight last July, has become the first to head across the English Channel. According to the tracker worn by the Sea Eagle, since its release, the eagle, known as G462, flew 29 miles across the Channel to Boulogne-sur-Mer on Tuesday lunchtime, before stopping in the southern area of Saint-Quentin, a further 105 miles away. The birds of prey are part of a reintroduction project on the island, coordinated by Forestry England and the Roy Dennis Wildlife Foundation, which is expected to last 5 years. Up to 60 white-tailed eagles will be released with the aim of establishing an initial population of 6 to 8 breeding pairs on the Isle of Wight and along the mainland coast. The Roy Dennis Wildlife Foundation said, "As we have come to expect, the 2020 cohort of young white-tailed eagles from the Isle of Wight are all ranging widely across England at present as they learn the landscape for the first time. We wondered how long it would be before one of the young birds crossed the English Channel into France, and it finally happened today. G463 made a 47 kilometres, that's 29-mile crossing between Dungeness and Boulogne-sur-Mer between 13:05 and 13:45 hours, aided by a strong northwesterly tailwind. It will be fascinating to follow his explorations on the continent. A long-term aim of the project is to help link white-tailed eagles in the UK with those in continental Europe, and this is the first sign that it is beginning to happen." The Isle of Wight was chosen as the location to reintroduce the white-tailed eagles. also known as sea eagles, as it offers an ideal habitat for these coastal loving birds with plentiful sources of food in the surrounding waters. It also offers a central position on the south coast, allowing the birds to disperse and link with other populations in Scotland, Ireland and now France. 13 eagles have been released since the beginning of the project, although 3 have sadly died.
iCensus 2021 uptake, but people still urged to complete online form. Isle of Wight Radio, Iona. 9 out of 10 households across England and Wales have completed their questionnaire, but anyone who hasn't taken part is being reminded to do so. Even though Census Day, March the 21st, has been and gone, it is not too late for Isle of Wight residents to fill out a form and avoid a fine. Most people have already completed their census online to make sure public services like GP surgeries, hospital beds, school places and public transport are based on the most up-to-date information. Ian Bell, the Deputy National Statistician at the Office for National Statistics in charge of the census, urged everyone to look out for reminder letters and to fill out their census. Ian said, "We've had an amazing response to the census so far. I'd like to thank everyone who's helped us exceed all expectations, but we want to make sure everyone counts and we won't rest until every household has responded." Field officers are out and about knocking on doors where records show we have had no response. If you don't get a visit, please complete your census now. Your response is vital. The information you give means all services we rely on, like school places and emergency services, are planned on accurate information. It is even used to plan where to build new supermarkets, what food to put on the shelves, and how many parent and toddler spaces to put in the car park. The census questionnaire is simple, straightforward and safe to complete online, and it only takes 10 minutes per person in a home. All households were sent a letter in the post in early March with instructions for taking part. If you've lost that letter or you have a second address, including a caravan you've not visited, go to www.census.gov.uk to request an online completion code for your address via SMS text message. If you know someone who doesn't have the skills or confidence to do the census online, help is at hand. There are local census support centres across England and Wales offering phone and face-to-face support. You can also call the helpline on 0800 141 2021. The role of field officers is to give help and encouragement to those who have not yet filled in their census questionnaire online or on paper and direct them to the support services they need. They'll be operating in the same way as a postal or food delivery visit, and they also carry ID to show that they're genuinely working on the census.
This is Brian reading an item from Isle of Wight Radio. Isle of Wight fails to meet housing targets. What happens now? The Isle of Wight has only achieved 54% of its house building target over the past 3 years, leaving it vulnerable to unwanted development. Its poor record, which left it close to the bottom of the national table, means there is a presumption of approval to applications for schemes within the National Planning Policy Framework. Between 2017 and 2020, 1,823 homes should have been built to meet government set targets, but only 978 were delivered. Across the Solent, Southampton achieved 129% against its target, but Portsmouth only reached 80%. Only 17 areas in the country had worse housing levels than the island, all falling below the thresholds, which means their planning authorities are subject to the strongest sanctions. Planning policies the council use for the delivery of new homes can now be viewed as out of date, so when determining the applications, the planning authority may, in some cases, have to rely on national ones instead. Due to the presumption, this argument is being used by planning agents when stating why their schemes should be approved. It does not automatically mean, however, the application will be approved, but that it should only be rejected if significant and demonstrable harm would outweigh the benefits. The council is under further sanctions because it cannot demonstrate the number of houses permitted and expected to be built in a 5-year period, despite the number of already approved developments. Speaking at the March meeting of the Planning Committee, Councillor Richard Hollis listed developments including Harcourt Sands, Penny Feathers and Rosemary Vineyard in Ryde and Place Road in Cowes, all with planning permission, some yet to be built. He said, adding up the developments, he did not believe that figure failed government's targets. An Isle of Wight Council spokesperson said recent court cases have helped the planning authority consider how the presumption is applied to applications. While policies may be out of date, they potentially remain relevant and should be considered when passing judgment. They said the council will continue the Island Plan Core strategy while the Next Generation Island Planning Strategy, IPS, is being finalised. The IPS provides the opportunity to reset our approach towards providing new homes on the island, the spokesperson said. To help build the next IPS, people have been asked to identify brownfield or previously developed land that could be potential development sites.
This is Petrina reading an article from Isle of Wight Radio. Lord Alan Sugar could make his mark on Newport High Street. An empty Newport eyesore could be regenerated by its owner, Lord Alan Sugar. Planning permission is being sought by the investment mogul's real estate company to transform the former Bright House store on the corner of Newport High Street into flats and a cafe/restaurant. The property has been owned by Amsprop, Lord Sugar's real estate company, since November 2017. Other properties owned by Amsprop across the south of England have tenants which include the Hard Rock Cafe, Krispy Kreme, Five Guys, Pret a Manager and Café Nero. Following the administration of Bright House in 2019, the property has stood empty in the heart of the High Street and has suffered from water ingress and damage into internal decorations. An evaluation of the property by Scotcher & Co., commercial estate agents, said the property is too large to be cost-effective in the current market, and there is very little prospect of a tenant being found for the whole building. With subdivision thought to be the best option going forward, proposals have been submitted to the Isle of Wight Council to turn the 2 floors above the shop into a 1-bed and 4 2-bed flats with an extension on the top floor. The shop on the ground floor could face a flexible change of use into a restaurant, cafe or drinking establishment, with plans showing a commercial kitchen and extraction system installed. Agent for the development, Dean Parkman, said a lot of work will be internal with only limited external alterations, such as removing 2 windows on the St James Street side of the building. Mr Parkman said, in planning documents, the property remaining empty in such a prominent corner position on the High Street, it will continue to have a negative impact on the vitality and viability of the town centre. To view the proposals or comment on the application 21/00533/FUL, you can visit the Isle of Wight Council's Planning Register. Comments can be submitted until the 26th of April 2021.
This is Michael reading an article from Isle of Wight County Press. Isle of Wight mother and son accused of commercial-scale drug dealing. A mother and son from Lake accused of commercial-scale drug dealing appeared before Isle of Wight magistrates on Tuesday. Benjamin Anthony Haxel, 20, and Joanne Haxel, 48, jointly face charges of being concerned in the supply of cannabis between September the 27th, 2019 and January the 31st, 2020. Miss Haxel offered no plea to converting criminal property, it being £9,521 cash, into her bank account and transferring the sum into Mr. Haxel's bank account between January the 2nd, 2019 and January the 15th, 2020. Mr. Haxel also faced charges of being concerned in the supply of ecstasy, heroin and LSD and ketamine, together with contravening criminal property by depositing cash into his bank account and purchasing cryptocurrency, fraudulent evasion under customs and excise legislation, and possession of an electrical weapon, namely a taser, between January the 2nd, 2019 and February the 29th last year. Both were bailed to reappear for a plea and trial management hearing at the Isle of Wight Crown Court on May the 10th.
Island Roads has second busiest winter on record. Isle of Wight Radio, Iona. Last winter, Island Roads has had its second busiest winter on the Isle of Wight. Between last October and the end of March, Island Roads carried out 51 gritting runs, depositing a total of nearly 1,000 tonnes of salt on the island's network. That level of activity was eclipsed only in 2017 to 18 during Beast from the East winter, when 1,456 tonnes of salt was used on 53 runs. Though the Beast from the East winter saw dramatic snowfall, this year's high level of activity was the result of prolonged periods of freezing weather. This year, there was more than twice the volume of salt used and double the number of runs than in the preceding winter, 2019-20, where there were 23 runs and 423 tonnes. A decision on whether to treat the network is taken following a daily review of bespoke weather reports, plus local observations and taking into account readings from 2 weather stations on the island at Brading Down and on the Middle Road. These 2 stations represent one of the highest points on the island and one of the lowest. David Wallace, Island Roads Operations and Maintenance Manager, said, "It has been a busier than normal year, and I'm sure residents would join me in thanking our crews who have had, on occasions, to work in some very difficult conditions in order to keep the network safe. Though at the end of the traditional winter maintenance period, Island Roads will be ready to return with its gritting fleet should any unseasonably cold weather develop in the coming weeks."
Hello, this is Steve reading a story from the Island Echo, headlined "Conservatives' Dave Stewart responds to opposition's knee-jerk criticism." The leader of the Isle of Wight Conservative Party has responded to comments made about plans to rejuvenate parts of Newport, which could include demolishing County Hall. Dave Stewart says that his political opponents have provided knee-jerk criticism to the Conservatives' ambitious visions for a new Newport Riverside quarter, which he says is disappointing. Councillor Stewart has said that such a reaction indicates that the opposition have either not read their proposals in full or have deliberately chosen to narrowly look at them from a perspective that suits their default inclination to oppose. In a statement, Stewart explains, "What we have put forward are, as I have just emphasised, just ideas at this stage, in order to start a dialogue with islanders about how we rejuvenate Newport Town Centre. However, the overall vision is one which we intend to take forward if re-elected with a majority in May's local elections. Following such an outcome, feasibility work, costings and wider consultation would then take place. However, it may be helpful if I set out some of the overall objectives behind what we are proposing. Number 1. To breathe new life into Newport, with high-quality sustainable development, in keeping with the town's historic character, making use of surplus buildings and land for a range of uses, including the provision of homes for islanders. In doing the above, to increase footfall for existing and new businesses in the town, including both retail and hospitality premises, and the development of a vibrant nighttime economy. Number 3. to restore the Guildhall to its former glory, making use of it as a new civic centre for use by both the council and the community at large. Number 4. To provide modern, fit-for-purpose, joined-up facilities for our public services here on the island, including office and meeting space on a scale which has regard to home working practices. This is an opportunity to continue to develop our one public service approach. Number 5. To deliver much-needed new homes for islanders in a sustainable location, with a range of tenures including rental properties and starter homes, with the council likely to retain the freehold of the majority of land currently in its ownership. Number 6. To help protect green spaces elsewhere on the island from being developed for the provision of new homes. Number 7. To have a rejuvenated and busy harbour, bringing more visitors into Newport via the River Medina. Number 8. To improve sports and community recreation facilities at Seaclose Park, boosting the health and well-being of new and existing residents. Having regard for the above, we don't just see this as a vision for Newport, but one for the Isle of Wight as a whole. All of us benefit from having a vibrant county town, which has much to offer both islanders and visitors. Furthermore, it is only by making use of brownfield sites in places like Newport Town Centre that we can substantially reduce the need for building new houses in the countryside. In this way, it becomes a win-win for the whole community. Addressing the decline of the High Street, Councillor Stewart goes on to say, "Those political opponents who claim that this vision does nothing to tackle vacant shops in the High Street are also missing the point. Sadly, post-pandemic, coupled with the shopping trends of recent years, our town centre retail area will not return to its previous size. This is a reality, not just in Newport, but in other towns across the island and indeed on the mainland. Rather than seeking to fill all of the currently vacant premises, we need to look at how we bring more people into the town to enjoy the many independent shops and eateries which are unique to the island, alongside essential services like a new post office location, which we are working towards. With more people living in and visiting the town centre, we will see new hospitality and specialist retail outlets opening up, principally in the core area we are proposing, from St Thomas Square to Carisbrooke Road. It's no good, as other political parties have done, just listing a range of things you would like to see in Newport Town Centre. You need to be prepared to make more substantial changes which act as a catalyst for increasing footfall and the vibrancy of the town. Residential-led development of the eastern end of the town will help achieve this, helping provide a critical mass to support a busy retail core. Enhanced health, dental and welfare provision would also be included within this, as these services are needed for both existing and new residents. The Conservative leader has been especially critical about former leader Jonathan Bacon. Councillor Stewart adds, "I was staggered to read Jonathan Bacon saying that we should only look at housing once the local economy is functioning again. It was as a result of his time in office and that of his fellow independents that the delivery of affordable housing fell to an all-time low, resulting in the housing crisis we now have. It has taken us the best part of this council term to get things moving to the point that now, for the first time in nearly 10 years, over 100 affordable houses have been provided during a 12-month period. The only major housing-related decision during the independent's tenure was to grant consent for 900 homes at Pennyfeathers on Greenfield land at Ryde, for which a single brick has yet to be laid. As such, I am disinclined to give any credence to suggestions from Mr Bacon that we should hold back from delivering housing on brownfield sites, given his own track record to the contrary. New homes can be provided hand in hand with economic recovery, and indeed the one will be an enabler for the other." In summary, Councillor Stewart says, "I'm proud of the vision we have set out and the resulting dialogue that is now underway. We have received already more welcome responses from people not just in Newport but across the island who, ignoring the knee-jerk responses of our political opponents, recognise the ambitious and forward-looking nature of our proposals. Finally, I say this to our political opponents. If you really care about our county town, then show it by giving residents the opportunity to vote for you in May's elections. Despite pontificating about the future of Newport, our island have not yet announced any candidates to stand in the town. The Lib Dems and Greens have both announced candidates for 2 out of the 7 seats in Newport, none of which are in the town centre. Even Labour are only planning to contest Newport seats, which sit west of the Medina. It simply isn't credible for a political party to claim to be interested in an area if it isn't prepared to put forward prospective councillors to be champions for that community. As things stand, only the Conservatives, fielding a full set of 39 candidates, and Labour, contesting a majority of seats, can genuinely claim to be interested in our county town. Nominations close on Thursday. Let's see if the other parties are prepared to step up to the plate by then. One thing remains certain. With the Island Conservatives, there will be strong leadership of the Isle of Wight Council, ensuring the island community is kept safe, contributing to the recovery of the island's economy, all underlined and achieved through the sustainable management of council finances.
This is Michael reading an article from On the Wight. West Wight councillors and residents share concerns over Isle of Wight road races. Some freshwater councillors say there has been a lack of transparency with the proposed Isle of Wight road races. At Tuesday night's Freshwater Parish Council meeting, councillors and the public in attendance heard more about the Isle of Wight road races, IWRR, event planned for the 20th to the 24th of October 2021. As reported by On the Wight, this is a different event to the diamond races due to be held in Chale and Bryston, now postponed until March 2022. Following last night's Freshwater meeting, local residents are demanding further answers from the Isle of Wight Council Cabinet about how much support the Council have given to the IWRR and whether the safety and community impacts have been thoroughly considered. In an email trail that News on the Wight has seen between the leader of the council, Dave Stewart, and Councillor John Medland, the leader, explains that approval has not yet been given to the IWRR. He says there is no formal approval by Cabinet on this matter as the proposal has not reached this stage. As with the diamond races, hard road closures would be necessary along the route, with the removal of all road signs, street furniture and even cat size. The parish council meeting was told an estimated 10,000 spectators will attend in the first year, with the event based at Tapnell Farm. Daniel James, Freshwater Parish Councillor and Green Party candidate for Freshwater North and Yarmouth, said, "Having attended a presentation for local councillors by the organisers of this proposed road race, I am not convinced that the event can be made safe, especially along the cliff edges, or would be good for the West Wight generally. Motorcycle racing would run counter to the direction of travel that we have worked so hard for on the island, to create a green environment which is attractive to visitors and local people alike. I am not opposed to new public events in Freshwater, but the promoters of these races need to think again." Vix Lothian, Isle of Wight Green Party chair, added, "The building of a private garage or a dozen bell tents have to go through a formal and robust planning process with several stakeholders, including the public, landowners and local councils. Where is the clear, open and transparent planning process for an event of this size? Consultation through shiny presentations at parish council meetings seems like an ineffective tick-box exercise for something with such significant consequences for this rural community. Doug Aldred, Green Party candidate for Bryston, Kelbourne and Shelfleet, added, "The island has a unique and successful reputation on the UK events calendar, but this means we need to be cautious and responsible about the type of event we encourage to our shores, especially within the AONB. I've been in touch with several residents of Brook and a surprising number of tourism businesses who have genuine and legitimate concerns regarding the race's impact on road safety and year-round tourism. Personally, I feel this second proposal is the wrong event in the wrong location and should not be supported without a radical and comprehensive rethink."
Hello, this is Steve reading a story from the Isle of Wight County Press headlined Newport Nursery Appeal. Palm trees stolen after late night break-in. A family-run plant nursery and cafe in Newport is appealing for witnesses after a number of trees were stolen on Tuesday night. The break-in occurred at Forest View Nursery along Forest Road. The perpetrators cut through 2 parts of the site's metal fence with bolt croppers and stole 6 large palm trees. A post from the nursery said they would have needed a large vehicle and probably at least 2 men to lift the heavy trees. This would have taken some time. If anyone knows anything, please message us. You will be kept anonymous. We are a small local business which has suffered from the effects of COVID-19. This is a really sad state of affairs which, at this tough time, we can't quite believe someone would do. The incident has been reported to the police alongside evidence left at the scene. In addition, anyone offered a palm tree with the botanical name Trachycarpus is asked to contact the police.
Hello, this is Lisa, CEO of Sight for Wight, welcoming you to this week's Talking News. This week's been busy as we've been preparing our press release, which is going out in the county press next week. The press release talks about the lottery funding which we received during the COVID second lockdown and how we've used it in our new befriending project, our Alexa skill, and the promotion of our Hello Everyone Sight for Wight audible QR codes. Also this week we have been interviewing for our apprentices to start on the 20th of April, and we are delighted to welcome on board Liberty and Martin. Both Liberty and Martin will be completing their Level 3 Business Administration NVQ qualifications while they're working for us. Liberty will be based in the main reception, welcoming members, guests and visitors to the centre, of course when we're allowed to reopen. Martin will be based upstairs as he will be using the databases, particularly managing the Talking News database, again when this is able to return to using USBs, which we are expecting to happen at the 3rd week of May. This will be timed with the official launch of our Sight for Wight Alexa skill, which will hold the Talking News every week. I hope this message finds you all well and enjoying the belated sunshine. Stay safe. Thank you, Lisa.
Scaffolding news week commencing 29th of March. Ride area, 51 George Street. Willow, West Street, Seaview. 1B Cross Street. Newport area, 3 Castlehold Lane. Halifax High Street. Guildhall High Street. Sandown area, Trouville Hotel, Sandown Esplanade. Flat Sea, St George's Hall. Cowes area, 31 Mill Hill Road. 43 Sun Hill. 35 Cross Street, 72 High Street, and Toby's of Cowes 9 High Street. Yarmouth area, Grove Cottage, St James Street. Shanklin area, 77 Regent Street. Ventnor area, 2A High Street, 34 South Street. Skip news, Yarmouth area, On the Rocks Bridge Road. Ride area, 23 Cross Street. Newport area, 47 Victoria Road. Wootton area, Entrance footpath N97 Bridgeway, Wootton. Sandown area 37 Perrone Way. 43 New Road, Lake. East Cowes area 61 Grange Road, East Cowes.
Sight for Wight would like to thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Talking News. We would also like to thank our volunteers for reading, and a particular thank you to the Isle of Wight County Press, On the Wight, Island Echo, Isle of Wight Radio, and a special thank you to Vectis Radio.